Hello and welcome to the Love Talk Show. Are you ready for a relationship? Very often we come across men and women who struggle when it comes to relationships, due to the fact that they were not perhaps well equipped for a relationship. We know that we are not born knowing everything. However, there are a few steps we need to take in order to ready ourselves for a relationship. After all, when engaging to a relationship, everyone's desire is to, have that relationship for the rest of their lives. Keep that relationship for the rest of their lives. In today's show, we will have a couple who will be sharing with us their experiences and, letting us know whether they were ready or not for that relationship right from the beginning.
Many people say like this, what do you mean if I'm ready for a relationship? I don't need to be ready. What does that mean? One doesn't need to be ready for a relationship. Others might say, when you're ready, the heart knows. The heart knows. Some people, an opportunity came, someone is interested, so I'll just go for it. This is the idea people have when it comes to relationship, and the reason why many of those relationships fail, because you do need to be ready for a relationship.
Yes, and unfortunately, many of them come to realize that when it's too late, or not too late, but later on, when there's been heartbreak, disappointments, this lack of trust, and so many other issues that arise within that relationship.
But before we get into all that, it's time for Dear Love Talk.
And it's Dear Love Talk time. In this segment, we answer any questions related to relationships because, this is an area of our lives in which we don't go to school to learn about it, right? Some people are blessed, if we could say, to have perhaps parents who could teach them or even set good examples to them when it comes to relationships. Having a good relationship, how to deal with your spouse. But in most cases, which was my case also, and I believe it was your case too, we didn't have that, and many people don't have that. So they need some kind of help. They need some kind of light to help them when it comes to relationships.
Also because we don't expect the problems that come our way. When I married him, I expected all the problems that we had would be outside, never between us. So when we did have problems, for those very first years, I didn't know how to handle some of them. And some people, they are in that situation. They need a little bit of guidance, and that's what we're here for.
Yes, that's the purpose of this segment, okay? So you can send your questions to questions@lovetalkshow.tv. We'll answer those questions here in this segment, okay? So let's go into today's question. What is your advice on a woman who is interested in someone 2 years younger than she is? It's not the first time we answer such question. We had this, we answered a similar question in the past. And if I'm not wrong, I'm not gonna give the same advice, but it's basically the same approach. We know that women mature faster than men, okay? Let's look into a girl and into a boy, very young girl, very young boy, when they're playing, okay? So the girl is playing, housemaid, or she's looking after the house, or she's playing.
She has a doll.
She has a small stove, she's cooking, and etc. Everything's in place, organized. And the boy on the other side is playing, like with an airplane or a machine gun, playing with a car, running up and down. So what does it mean? It means that women mature, I'm not talking about physically, but mentally faster than men. We know there are exceptions, but generally that's how it works.
I think it's because one reason why that happens is that women, girls, they learn responsibility early. At least, even though I don't have a brother, but at least this is what I hear from people who have brothers. mothers usually are more easy on the boy. Okay, he plays and the girl come here and help me.
Yeah,
so girls learn responsibility earlier, which means it helps them mature earlier.
Beside having those differences when playing with toys while they are still very small, we have that. Which I have a sister, and I can say that.
There right? You go.
So, having said that, even when we grow up, we still have those differences. So, if she's 30 and I am 28, so let's use your example. So she's not really thinking and behaving as a 30 years old. You'd be behaving and acting and approaching life as maybe as a 34, 35. On the other hand, I'm 28, but I still have that approach to life. I'm still very young, full of life, and then sometimes I behave or I speak like a 26 or 25 years old. Even women, sometimes they say, oh, men are very immature. Why do they say that? Because of this. So here you see that the problem there is not only 2 years apart. The two of you are not just 2 years apart. It's more than that. It's not just the age. We're not looking at the age, at the numbers only. Some people say, oh, it's just numbers. It's not numbers, it's in here, right? The way one thinks, the way one approaches life, the way one deals with matters in life. So there's a lot to consider there. So, I mean, it might be the case where the guy is extremely mature.
For his age.
For his age, fair enough. Then you're compatible. But we've seen and we've dealt with cases in which the woman was older, not way too old, but older than the man. And when I asked the woman if she felt like she was his mother sometimes, and she said, yes, sometimes I feel I'm his mother because in the house he doesn't have a lot of responsibilities, all the responsibilities are on me, and so on and so forth. So there are various things to take into consideration there.
Yeah, because you see, people when they fall in love, and these are the people who say, age is just a number, they are thinking of now. Now everything is good. Usually it's like that. In the beginning of a relationship, most of relationships, everything is great. You only feel love, you don't really think about the future. You think about now and you fantasize that the future will be just like it is now. And in reality, it's not like that. And that's when we have women come in saying they are older, they got married, or they are in the relationship, and they say, I'd like him to take more decisions, I'd like him to be more present, I'd like him. But in a way, it's not the guy's fault, it's his age. So he's leaving his age, and you are leaving yours.
Especially when there are children involved. We've dealt with couples when the woman, besides her being older, she had a child or two. So this young guy now becomes a father out of the blue. So what does he know about fathering? And she expects him to be a father. She expects him to meet her expectations as a father. And it's very difficult. So yes, it's not only about now, it's about the future. Because when you get into a relationship, it's a long-term relationship. A marriage, for example, it's on a trip, it's a journey. So think about this journey, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years from now. You didn't give your age, you didn't mention his age, but think about it. How is it going to work in the future? Based on this fact, if you want to go with your emotions, if you want to follow your human instincts, so then you have to be ready for the consequences. But having asked this question, and I believe the reason why you asked is because you're willing to learn the truth and also to get some advice. Here's the advice. You may say, no, he's a wonderful guy. He's a very nice guy. Fair enough. But you don't base a long-term relationship on niceness. You have to base a long-term relationship on many other facts that perhaps you are ignoring at the moment. Okay?
And it's like this. It's not like some people might be watching and say, but it's such a small gap, 2 years. this is something for you who asked the question to see. Like you said, maybe the guy has been taught responsibility very early and he is mature. So it's something that you need to see, and we advocate this a lot. Find out first. Give yourself time. Find out about the person. Then you decide. But people usually do the opposite. They start, let's see how it goes. They start the relationship.
They move in first, and then when they start having problems, they come to ask for advice. No, we already given advice beforehand. So you can analyze the whole situation in depth and see if this is, okay, this has the potential to work. Good. If not, perhaps that's one of the reasons why you're asking the question, because there might be few doubts there. Then you have to analyze that and make sure that you don't jump into conclusions too early or engage in a relationship based on emotions only. Okay? So this is it for today. If you want us to answer any questions related to relationships, send us your email to questions@lovetalkshow.tv. Hello, our YouTube viewers. We are the presenters of the Love Talk Show.
I am Rafa.
And you know who I am, Luke. And we are here to encourage you to share this channel with your friends, your family members. Invite them to watch our shows, because our desire is to help couples and singles do better in their relationships or future relationships. So subscribe to this channel, share on your Facebook page, share the link with everyone you know, so that they can learn intelligent love.
Also, leave us your comments and your questions.
Hello and welcome back to the Love Talk Show, and today's topic is, are you ready for a relationship? None of us come into this world with a manual when it comes to relationships. We either learn in the hard way due to the lack of good role models, due to the lack of people around us who could set a good example when it comes to relationships, or we're simply blessed to have those role models around us and help us mold ourselves and also go about relationships in the proper way. But we know that that's not the case most times, right?
Yeah, this is the question to ask when it comes to relationships, but most people don't even think about it. They will think about that later on when things go wrong. If more people ask that more often, their chances to succeed in relationships will be much higher. But people think, I'll go with my gut. I'll go with my heart. Let's go.
Yes, and that's when they realize that they were not supposed to go about that relationship in the way they went later on, right? They go about it in the reversed way.
Yeah.
So in order to help us shed a light on today's topic, we have a very lovely couple here with us today, Oliver and Keisha. How you guys doing?
Good.
Good to have you here, okay? And I think you might remember Keisha's story from a few months back. We had Keisha in our show, and we're gonna watch a very small part of her video, her story, which she shared with us a few months back, so you can have an idea whether she was ready for a relationship or not back then. Let's take a look.
It all started at home, and it started with my sister's dad, who I thought was my dad. And I really found that he wasn't my dad when I was around like the age of 12. And to think someone is your biological father and to find out he's not, it really hurt so much. There was always problems at home. I would get into trouble with my sister's dad, and he treated me like I wasn't his child already. So that already, brought red flags for me. That really showed, look, this guy does not like you. So because we had that kind of friction, my mum would take the side of my sister's dad. And because of that, it was like there was so much division in my house. I hated going at home. I hated being at home. And because I hated being at home, I was always out with my friends and on the street. And that's when it led to me just being wild. From a very young age, I was already dating guys who were like, from when I was in like year 7, I was dating guys who were in college. So I was I was very like out there. I didn't care. But with me, I would lie about my age. I would lie to guys about my age and so on, just because I wanted that attention. Like, I didn't have it at home. I didn't have a father figure at home. There was no male, figure for me to look up to. So these guys were like my escape for me to talk to them. And because they were older, you had that sense of maturity. You had that sense of like protection. So that's why I would run to these guys. I would sleep with guys who had kids, who had a family already. I would be in a relationship, but then I would sleep with other guys as well. It was like, okay, if I can't find happiness here, if I can't find what I'm looking for here, I don't want to let this relationship go, but maybe let me go and find something else. Maybe I can find happiness there. And if I do find that happiness there, then I will let that relationship go. But the thing is like I couldn't find happiness anywhere. I couldn't find, it was just something in me that was missing. Like, so 17 to 18, I was still with someone. I was, in a serious relationship with him. But then as I said, I didn't find that fulfillment in that relationship. So I was seeing another guy, because I'm in relationships with both of them. Obviously things happen, and that's when I fell pregnant. And it came to the worst point because it was like, Keisha, what have you come to? Because I didn't even know who the father was of the child. So I had an abortion, and it's not because, it's fun to get abortions or because that's the way. It's because of the way I was living. That's how things actually happen, because that's the last thing I would ever think of. And because I was living such a reckless life, I never thought that, stupidly, like obviously you can get pregnant, and what would I do then? After taking that decision, I don't know, it just made me feel like, I just felt depressed. I was very depressed because I just thought, is this what I've come to? Like, that's something that I will never ever think of doing. And to do that was just, I could not forgive myself. Honestly, I couldn't forgive myself. I constantly beat myself up and say, why would you do this? And why would you allow this to happen?
So that was Keisha's story, a little bit of your past, right?
Yeah.
So Oliver, what about you then? Our viewers want to learn a little bit about your background, right? When it comes to relationships.
Yeah. So, with relationships, I started dating from very young, from around 8 years old. I was getting...
Who starts dating when they're 8?
Oh. How did you go about it? I don't know.
I don't know either. I can't remember. I can't remember. But so that's when I started dating. And from there on, all relationships that I had after that were failed. I was living with my dad at the time, and he had a lot of issues. He was underachieving in terms of his career, his life, etc. So he was really angry, and he would express that anger towards me and some of my siblings as well.
So when you say you were living with your father, then your mother was not in the picture?
Yeah, she was not in the picture. She lived somewhere else at the time. And so me and my siblings, we all grew up quite angry, especially me obviously being one of the sons that he lived with. So I reflected his anger in every single situation, every single circumstance that wasn't going my way. And that included relationships as well. So I was quite violent, not in relationships, but in terms of daily life. I was in a gang. I would disrespect women. I had addictions to pornography, just like my dad as well. So that, with all of that as one package, to be in a relationship I was not ready for.
So when you say that those relationships failed, could you give us a little bit more details? Why did they fail? Was it you? Was it them? The two of you?
I would mostly say it's because of me, because most relationships that I was in, I would get pretty bored. And I remember one instance where I was in a relationship and there was a girl who was really clingy. She was extremely clingy. She would always want me to call her, text her. And I thought she was being clingy, but that would be the normal thing to do for, your partner. And I just saw her as clingy, so I just said, you know what, this is not going to work. Let's just call it quits. Another relationship, she was very emotional, and she was very sentimental. And so I got bored, and instead of me telling her that I didn't want to be with her, I just told her, can you listen to this song for me? And then she listened to the song, and I said, okay, well, that's how I feel about this relationship.
And what did the song say?
It was...
about someone who was extremely emotional.
I think so.
But it wasn't I mean, it wasn't just you, them also. We can clearly see that they were not also ready for that relationship.
Yeah, of course,
maybe.
of course. But the difference between the reason as to why I thought it wouldn't work and they thought it wouldn't work was very different. And I think, as a person, one reason as to why I would say I wasn't ready for a relationship is simply because I would manipulate, especially emotional women or girls.
And not only that, as you just mentioned, you were overloaded.
Yeah.
Your luggage, as we mentioned here some months ago, maybe weeks ago, when we gave the example of the luggage.
Yeah.
You carry with you a very heavy luggage due to what you were facing at home.
Yeah, exactly.
So imagine yourself getting into a serious relationship with that luggage.
Yeah, exactly.
What would that have turned it out
Now,
to be?
one thing that you said you were in loads of relationships, none of them worked.
Yeah.
What did you want out of relationships? When you said, okay, I'm going to date this girl, I'm going to go out with her. What is it that you wanted out of relationships?
I think I just wanted, I wanted something that I couldn't find at home. And that was companionship, friendship, happiness. But I wasn't happy myself. So it was a kind of chasing fool's gold kind of thing. I knew that I couldn't give it, so I was trying to find it.
What if you found someone who could be a good companionship?
Yeah.
Would you be that companionship?
Absolutely not.
That's
Yeah,
the point.
That's the whole thing there.
Yeah, because that's what we want. We sometimes we like to highlight to people, the importance of being ready for that relationship. It's not only finding the person or a particular person for you to be with, and you say, okay, now I'm ready. Okay, but why are you ready? Is it because of that person or is it because of you? And in your case, it was clear that you were not.
Exactly.
And it's like this. Many people, they have problems, issues, inside them or, in their home, in their life, and they say they want a relationship as if to say, fix me, fix it for me. So they don't go wanting to give anything.
Or
they just want to receive.
Or thinking that the relationship itself will fix that. Okay, what I need is someone to be with so that I may perhaps forget my problems or get over these issues. Like many young people, when they go through problems within the family, within the house, they say, okay, I need a relationship so I can forget all this. Forgetting that they are carrying so much within themselves, right?
Did you have any heartbreak? Any of the relationship that you really wanted to work, but then she didn't want you, perhaps? Look at me,
Her
cheering.
questions like she wants to kind of make you bleed now.
Yeah.
It's because you see, from what he's saying, it's like many girls probably liked him, So was there any that you really liked about it?
No. I'll be honest, no.
You were a very tough guy to deal with.
I was. Ask her. I was.
Really? We're going to ask her. The next segment, we're going to turn the guns to her. Right?
Yeah.
So what you can say then right now is that Oliver wasn't ready for a relationship.
Absolutely not. Internal issues was another issue that I would say that I had to deal with. A lot of baggage I had inside that I hadn't dealt with before. I'd never, when you're in a relationship, you kind of have to share baggage, or you have to kind of get rid of your baggage first, and then obviously you have to kind of deal with the ones that are going to linger around for the rest of your life, of course. But with the baggage that I hadn't dealt with my own, and I was going into relationships with people who also hadn't dealt with their own. So, you could just imagine how much baggage we had to carry in each relationship. And with each relationship, I was picking up baggage from them that I didn't want to see in another person, but I was still holding on to it, if that makes sense.
So Keisha, did you bring some baggage into this relationship?
No, I brought loads and loads and loads.
So don't say much right now, because we're going to come back to you guys after our break, because now we're going to focus on the two of you, right? When you met, how you dealt with those things, and now you had to know whether you're ready for a relationship or not, right? So we're gonna go for a very short break, and we'll be back with Oliver and Keisha. Stay with us.
Do you know what intelligent love is? But you can find out on our site. It's lovetalkshow.tv. Many people, they struggle in love in their relationships, they keep losing their hearts, their feelings, and everything always goes to waste. So if you want to learn to love intelligently, that's the place you should visit, lovetalkshow.tv. We also have our Facebook page, our Instagram page, Love Talk Show. So visit us.
I just agree with everything she said. Welcome back to the Love Talk Show. And before we go back to our guests, in case you have missed any of today's show, today's topic is, are you ready for a relationship? And in case you want to know more about the show and everything else we do, because here we talk more about relationship and relationship issues and in general. So if you want to know more about us and the other things we do, you can go to our website, which is lovetalkshow.tv, and there you're gonna read more about us, about ourselves.
Find links to previous shows.
That's right. So back to our guests, Keisha, Oliver.
Yes.
Let's talk about the baggage now.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, how did you deal with that previous baggage? Before coming to this relationship?
Yeah, I had to deal with it before I got into this because I knew I would have ruined it if I wanted it to work. So I had to deal with it straight away.
Now, did you deal with that before meeting her or in the beginning when you met her?
I dealt with it, was it before?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was before. Yeah, it was 100% before. Yeah, it had to be before. And yeah, so I dealt with it by, at first I had to cut off all these pointless relationships. That was the first thing I had to do because I knew that I was only getting into relationships because I didn't want to deal with the baggage. It was kind of like a distraction. So I was, I had to cut that off first of all. Second of all, I was working on myself on the inside. It's very easy to work on yourself on the outside, probably get a better job, look better, get a nice haircut or whatever. But I wanted to work on internal issues that I had. So this was overcoming the anger issues, the insecurities that I had, from the previous relationships that I had as well, getting rid of the addictions to pornography, the anger issues, etc. So that was the second step of obviously me moving forward. And then obviously I thought that, once I had dealt with that, I was ready to be her Prince Charming. So.
And how did you two meet? How did you meet this Prince Charming?
Well, we went to the same youth group and we met there. At first there was nothing, that clicked for us. It was just like, we worked together, very closely together. So we just built that friendship first and then, yeah.
So when did it turn? When did you realize, okay, this is probably more than friendship? Did he say something to you?
At first, as we were going to a youth group, we were there, but things started to change for me. My focus changed, so I decided to go along a different path, and he was still there, and he was always there for me. Like, he was always messaging me, calling me, and I thought to myself, like, what does this guy want?
With second intentions already,
yeah,
perhaps.
I was like, what's going on? Like, at first we were friends, like, why are you calling me? Why are you messaging me? But then I understood what he was actually doing, and he really did care for me. Not only the fact that, he saw that I wasn't myself anymore, but he was like, look, he was just there trying to help me to get through that rough time, because I went through a really, really rough time, and he was right by my side.
Mm-hmm. So when you finally met, decided to start dating, so was it a bed of roses?
Oh, no way. No way.
Because people may think like this, oh no, she's changed, he's changed, now it's so,
No.
Yeah. I think it's quite easy to have the misconception of thinking that things are going to be perfect, the perfect relationship. Both of you have no issues, no problems, etc. So it's going to work, it has to work. There's no reason why it can't work. But we had issues in terms of bonding because I'm completely different to her. Mm-hmm. As similar as we are, but we are very different as well. We have our differences. So there was things that she wanted from me that I didn't know how to give because I'd never given it before. So I was like, what do you want me to do?
I think there was like in terms of affection, because he never actually received affection, and I was very needy. I needed that affection. It would be hard for him to actually show affection to me. Like I would have to literally squeeze him just to show me a bit of love, to hug, to hold hands, something. And for me, that was just the worst thing ever. And he always tried to kind of take control. I'm not used to something like that, like a guy trying to push his weight around. I'm used to being very independent, having my own way. And as I grew up without having my dad around, you know, it was just me, my mum and my sister. So females in the house, so, you know, girl power. And then when he came in and he started saying, look, this is going to be like this and that, not to say that he was like, bossy, but he was
fathering you.
Yes, yeah. I couldn't deal with that. I couldn't.
A second father, no way.
I couldn't deal with that. So
and there's a little bit of deja vu there, because you see, it's similar to the girl you met before.
Yeah.
She was a bit clingy and needy.
Yeah.
Now you have that in Keisha.
Yeah. So the difference is that before I thought it was clingy, but now I see it as this is what she needs, kind of thing. So. Yeah, so that was the kind of difference, because before I saw it as so annoying, and you know, just females just wanted my attention all the time, and I didn't really want to give them that much attention. But now I see it as a necessity. She needs it. Like I need to take care of her, and she needs the affection.
So your perception about relationships changed completely?
Completely changed, yeah. Completely changed.
So was there any instance in which you guys had I don't know, maybe an example of an issue you had in which you had to, you know, now understanding that you were ready for a relationship, that you needed to kind of deal with that in a very mature, intelligently way? Do you remember?
Yeah, well, we had a lot of arguments. We would argue constantly, and that's one of the things that we saw that was a problem, because it was over little things. It was because maybe he didn't call me on time, or you know, he didn't answer my messages, or the way he responded to my message wasn't the way he usually responds. So it was like little things. It created a really big problem, and that really showed issues within, first of all, me, because I would always demand, like, why are you talking to me like this? You're not showing me love. You're not showing. I would just be so nagging, like. But then that showed that that's what I was lacking. Like, you know, in previous relationships, I never had that. I never had someone who actually cared about me, someone who would take care of me and said, look, I actually love you and mean it. And you know, I would demand that from him. When I wouldn't receive it from him, I would question, does he actually love me? Does he want to be with me? And I remember I said that to him one time, and he lost it. He was just like, how could you say that? And it was true, because I always used to say to him, like, if you love me, then you will say this, you will do this. I would demand so much from him, but then I wouldn't give as well.
So how did you solve that little problem?
It took a lot of patience. She had to kind of be a lot more receptive to the affection that I was giving to her, because I know that she wasn't used to it. And I, to be honest, wasn't used to giving affection, because I'd never received affection ever. So, you know, we're talking about my dad here, you know. You met my dad. So, yeah, it just took a lot of, you know, give and take from both sides. I had to be patient and understand that obviously she wasn't really used to it. And, you know, it was a bit of both sides.
So,
if you think about it, it's something very simple, maybe hard to do, but not complicated at all. She wanted it too much. He thought he didn't need to give it so much.
And
he didn't know how to.
This is something we find in couples all the time. It's not just the two of you. We usually find that. Either the guy or the girl who did not have much affection, the other had too much. One doesn't give a lot, the other wants too much.
It's more of a way you don't know how. For you, it's fine. I'm sure that for you, it's like, it's obvious that I like her. For you, it's fine. And for the other person, it's not enough.
And men usually are very difficult when it comes to expressing themselves.
In most cases.
Now, if we're not good in expressing ourselves, plus having the issues that you had, facing the issues you faced, it makes it worse.
That's it.
Now we have a woman who had the family around, the parents, the sisters, everybody together, you know, expressing feelings and so on and so forth. Now there's a discrepancy here. Now, because you're ready for this relationship, not perfect for the relationship, but ready for it, you came to the conclusion where you had to work things out. right? As you said, give a bit more, demand a bit less, so things could work, right, Keisha?
Yeah. It's true. And also we started attending the seminars as well. Like we would attend as much as we can. And the message that we would take was about us working on ourselves. So it wasn't solely about the relationship. It was mainly about us fixing ourselves, removing those roots, because we both had roots from the past, from our family, and it was about actually removing those roots. And once we actually did that, we started to move forward. We do have issues, but now we know how to deal with it. We don't have these petty little arguments about him not calling me, not receiving text messages with love hearts. Like we have that mature understanding that, you know, it's a give and take relationship.
How long you've been together?
1 year and 10 months.
Yeah.
10 months.
Yeah.
And is the wedding date set already?
Yes.
It's set.
When?
Next year. Next year, December. Next year, December.
Next year, December.
Yeah.
So then, congratulations.
Thank you so
Right?
much.
Thank
You've been, you just recently engaged?
Well, in August, yeah.
In August.
So that's recent, yeah.
So, and I believe you are on the right path,
Yeah,
right?
100%.
Just keep going, and I believe our viewers appreciate your story, okay? Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much
Appreciate
for
your
having
time.
But they're not gonna go just yet because they have to tell us the 3 most annoying things. So check it out.
The 3 most annoying things about Oliver are he has an issue with being attentive. He gets distracted very easily. He has a tendency of talking to me and then getting distracted with something else, changing the subject.
So the 3 most annoying things about Keisha are, number 1, her, I don't even know what to call it, but her obsession with smelling her food before she eats it. I don't understand why she does it. It's disgusting. I find it, it's so terrible.
Another thing is that he has an answer for everything. You know, if we have a disagreement or, you know, I say something that is wrong and trying to correct him, he already has an answer for it.
The second thing is her need to always tell me that I need to pay attention to what she's saying. I don't understand when she says that I'm not paying attention. It's very, very annoying.
And the third thing is that before he buys something, he has to look at the package, he has to look at what the saturated fat is in it. Like sometimes you just want to go in and then go out. I can't stand that.
The third thing is her obsession to always buy things connected to makeup. I don't understand why she needs to buy 10 brushes that look exactly the same and use them on her face, and they all look exactly the same. I just don't get it. I don't understand.
Hello everyone, we are here to invite you to our Love Talk seminars every Thursday at 8 p.m. on the address that you can see here at the bottom of your screen. You can also find more details on our website, lovetalkshow.tv. You find events throughout the year. They are all free, where you're going to learn a lot about relationships. Singles and couples are invited. Our desire is to share with you a little bit of what we've been through, and also, help you with prayers, with advice, with counseling, down-to-earth teachings in which will help you become a better man, a better woman, a better husband, a better wife, and see, better results of your investment when it comes to relationships. Okay, every Thursday, 8 p.m., Love Talk Live on this address here that you see at the bottom of your screen. Welcome to the Love Talk Show, and before we conclude today's show, in case you would like to watch previous shows, or if you missed any of today's segments, you can head to our YouTube channel, Love Talk Show, and you'll be able to watch our previous shows and any of the segments you might have missed today, okay? We would like to conclude today's topic with a question that we received that is exactly about today's topic, okay? And here's the question. I've gone through a lot in my past relationships, especially the last one. Since coming to the Love Talk seminars, I've learned that I need to take care of myself and heal from everything before entering another relationship. And that's what I've been doing. But my question is, how do I know I'm ready to date again? If that's exactly what you've been doing, that's a very important step. You are healing within, you're taking care of those inner issues. So that's an important step. Now, whether you're ready for another relationship or not, whether you are ready to date again or not, that is something that you have yourself to know. We can't exactly tell you that. Now, we can tell you the signs that one knows when he or she is ready for a relationship again.
Yeah. One thing that I think it's very positive that she found out intelligent love. It's very positive that you are doing that you have recognized, yes, I wasn't ready and that's why the relationships I had failed. Now I want to deal with those things that made those relationships fail in the first place, which is you and the issues that you have and are taking care of. Now, the problem is some people, when they take that step, they might think, I'm ready. I've forgotten, I have overcome some traumas, I'm not the same person, I am ready now for a relationship. But one way for you to know is ask yourself this: are you happy alone? Mm-hmm. Some people, they're not, they can't be. They say they're gonna be single for a while, but they feel the need to have somebody with them.
Be happy on their own or be at peace within themselves. Mm-hmm. Be happy with yourself. Have peace within yourself. You have to ask the question: do I need someone to complete me, or I am complete on my own? Why do you need a relationship? Why do you need to date again? Is it because you are in need of having someone, or is it because now you see that you're ready, to start a relationship which will last, right?
Many women, when they come to us, one problem that they have is that, I'm taking care of myself, I'm preparing myself for a relationship. Yes, I'm working on being happy alone, being happy with myself, with the person that I am, and then someone comes along. Someone who they are not necessarily interested in, they never noticed before, but because an opportunity has arisen, now, okay, I want a relationship. All of a sudden now they want a relationship. And very quickly, they are enchanted with the person. If you get, very quickly, you don't know the person yet, but the person has said he has feelings for you, or the guy said he's interested in you, and you give him a chance, but you are quickly, oh yes, that shows you're not ready for a relationship.
Yeah, and there's the thought of, okay, in between being alone and having someone, I've been waiting for so long, or I'm tired of being alone. Yes, I see a few things that perhaps, are not what I was expecting. I will ignore those signs, again with the signs, and, I'll give this person a chance.
Maybe that's what I need. I have to give myself the chance.
Yes,
also.
And that's what I wanted to say. You want to give yourself a chance, not the other person. But that's the thing, you're not ready yet. You still have lots of issues, like we saw in the case of Oliver, the baggage that he was carrying within himself. It seems like you've learned a way to deal with that, which is pretty good. However, as she put it very well, that's not enough. It's not enough just to overcome some past issues. It's not enough just to unlearn certain things. Understand that you have to unlearn certain habits, unlearn certain traits, get rid of certain traits, forget the past, get rid of certain negativity or certain thoughts. But also you have to learn new things. So it seems like you're being able to overcome some past issues, as you mentioned, you are healing within, but that's not enough. You have to learn certain things to go into a new relationship, to start dating again. And as you keep improving all those things, so you asking the question, am I ready to date again? It's perhaps showing us that there's a few things that you need to learn, a few things that you need to improve or do in order to start dating again, because there is doubt. You know, doubt is playing a part in your life. So that could be it.
Yeah, and there's that romantic notion, you know, that people say, oh, he completes me, she completes me. That's the wrong thing to want or to think. A relationship is supposed to complement you, not complete you. You need to be complete on your own. When something complements is this, you already have something good. Now we're gonna have something good complementing what is already good. Now, if you don't have this very good yet and it needs to complete me, it means you are lacking something. And for as long as you're lacking something, you are not ready for a relationship. You need to deal with that.
You need
first.
to be complete on your own, right? One final thing that I would like to mention is this. Many people get into a relationship to be happy, right? So if I get into this relationship here now with her because I want to be happy and she wants to be happy, it's gonna last, this happiness will last as long as we don't clash. Once we start coming face to face with our differences, which means whatever I'm doing, whatever I'm saying is not making her happy and vice versa, then we have problems. We start having issues. Now, if my approach to this relationship is different, I want to make her happy. I'm complete on my own. I'm happy on my own. I'm at peace within myself, and I'm ready to make her happy. And the same from her towards me. This is it. Whatever differences we face, we will be able to deal with them. They will happen. They will happen. As it happens to us. We've been together for 17 years now. We've been married for 15 years. It happens. But because we want to make the other happy, because we are happy on our own, then we have managed to work around those differences, and they are no longer a big issue in our relationship, in our marriage. So that's what you have to take consideration in order to see whether you're ready to date again. All right, and that pretty much concludes today's topic. And now you know whether you're ready for a relationship or not. Well, if you accept the advice, obviously, you know that it's going to help you, but you may want to ignore it. Obviously, we respect your decision, but, you know, give it a thought. Try to understand this. You know, use a little bit more. We are appealing to your reasons, to your intelligence. Use your intelligence, your reasons a little bit more. Ignore your feelings, what your heart, the impulses of your heart at the moment. You see that you're going to come to better conclusions when it comes to relationships. Okay? This is it for today, guys. We see you next time then. And it's bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.
And that's all for today's Love Talk show. Be sure to tune in next week to learn more on how to love intelligently.